Welcome, low ego action heroes and phoenixes. It is Wednesday, and I'm Debbie Levitt from dcx, and I am here to take your questions. This is our Wednesday Ask Me Anything. You get free, unlimited mentoring and advising and thoughts and prayers for anything that I can help you with in this format. Obviously, if there's help you need outside of this format, I can only recommend my coaching, which you'll find at dcx.to. But if you would like to ask a question, you can put it in the live chat and it'll pop up here on the screen. Or you can ask anonymously. If you have a longer question or an anonymous question, please send it in to dcx.to/Q. I don't think I have any questions today. I think we answered all of them last week. So if you have a question, you could be the first to get your answer. The cost is free to you, no purchase necessary. So if you have a question, a thought, a concern, we talk about everything here from product strategy to business strategy to startups to customer experience to weird emails coming in, not from any of you. Customer experience, user experience, famous books on the topics, future of tech work, layoffs, burnout. It is all fair game. So if there is something that I can answer for you, please let me know. I will hang out here a few minutes and see if anybody has any questions. I don't think we'll see our regular Ana Lucia today. She's unavailable. So for anyone who's waiting for her to pop up and say hi, as I was, I just realized she's not going to join us today. But if you are joining us, whether it's on Twitch or YouTube or LinkedIn, I am here to answer your questions, or you're welcome to discuss anything that is on your mind. While I wait for questions to come in, don't forget that we've got lots of things that you can be a part of, especially for free. Our Discord community is active and now has over 500 people, so it's a nice, varied group there. We've got channels related to personal stuff, channels related to work stuff. So we are here to support you wherever you are in your life's and work's paths. I'm posting a little bit on Blue Sky, so you can find me there. We do have Patreon, but it's now free. Paying is optional, so it's a good place to get some updates a few times a month if you don't want to get updates more than that. But really, the Discord is the place to be. Let's see if I am missing anything. Okay, no emails yet. Well, I'll hang out for a few minutes just in case anybody has a question. Questions optional. If you send in a question and I see it after the stream ends, I will catch it and grab it and hold on to it, and it will be part of next week's stream. So I don't think I have any back. We can use some of our instrumental show closing music to have a little background music while we wait to see if anyone has a question. My question is, why is my dog slightly limping? But none of us know the answer to that, so to be continued. While we wait to see if there's a question, I'm just going to go have a peek at Twitch and other stuff and just check if we've got humans joining us live. Humans, if you are joining live, you are welcome to ask your questions. All questions are welcome. Send them in. They'll come up on the screen, and I am here to talk about whatever's on your mind. Aha! Here's Gregory. This is coming up on the LinkedIn. So let's put this up on the screen, and I also want to capture it so we can put it in the YouTube description. Okay. And okay, so Gregory is asking, let me just go back to all of my screens. Hi Debbie, curious about your patent on managing customer research. What annoyed you the most to create a patent? Everything. Everything. So Gregory is referring to my patent. Let me see if I can quickly find the link to that, since I've already forgotten how to get people to take a look at that, you are welcome to see that information. That information is now public. And let me see if I can find quickly a link for that. And that way, when I speak to it, you've got a reference. Here it is. Okay, that's an easy enough link. Why didn't I remember that? Let's put that up on the screen also. And of course, I'm excited to talk about my patent because most of all, I hope that all of you will contact the tools and systems that you use and tell them this patent is out there. There's a big invention around it, and I really hope people will license the patent and build it into their tools and systems. So, my invention was created in 2020. I see an anonymous question coming in too. Thank you for that. We'll get to you second. I invented this in 2020. That's how long it takes to get a patent. We filed it in 2021, and I just got it 2 months ago. So getting a patent can take years if you get it at all. So this was something that I invented in 2020 when we did a project with my then apprentice program where the apprentices did research with UX researchers to find out what was really the most difficult part of their job and where did they feel like things really ground to a halt and were difficult and easy to mess up and stuff like that. And time again, it was recruiting. They felt like they had other stuff under control. They felt like, I know how to write a research plan. I know how to do the research. I know how to analyze and synthesize it. I know how to write a report. Just talking high level about phases of research. But the recruiting, everyone said, this is the bane of my existence. This takes so much time. It's so easy to get wrong. There's so much stuff to juggle. It takes so much time away from the other things I want to be doing. I wish that there were smarter systems, more automated systems. And so we did this research project. I think the team met 22 researchers from around the world at different companies at different levels, and we heard a lot of the same things. So it looked like there were problems to solve. Now, you would think the answer to solving problems is build the thing. But I didn't have the money to build the thing. But I had the money to invent the concept behind the thing. And that way, hypothetically, if I invent the concept, then user testing can build it into their system the way they want to build it into their system, call it what they want, use the elements that they like, and not use other elements. Respondent can build it into their system, calling it what they want, using the elements that they like. It's the invention. And so an invention can be used however a company wants to use it. And I thought it would make a lot more sense to create the invention that other companies could then use and customize and bring into their systems versus me saying, nope, I have a standalone system. Everybody come use my system in addition to the systems you're already using. Get budget for my system, get into my system. I thought that didn't make sense. If you're happy with an ethnio, a respondent, a user testing, a dovetail, a great question, whoever it is, it would be great if these systems built my invention, some or all of it, in. So that's why it's a patent. That's why the idea of it is a patent. And if people want to use some or all of it, I would love to license it to them at a very reasonable price. I'm not looking to ask people for squillions of dollars and a pint of blood. I think we can license this out for very reasonable numbers because I want to see it used. I know people have said to me, I can't imagine it being any better than Rally UXR. Oh, it can, because based on what I've seen from Rally UXR's website, the best that they can do is advanced filtering. But my patent, if you go and check it out, has a whole mountain of stuff that is designed to be automated, workflow-based, AI-based, and goes way, way, way beyond advanced filtering. And so I think that there's room for it in tools like Rally and really any tool that is touching participant recruiting or is considering to move into participant recruiting. So it could be for user interviews. It could be for, there's a huge list of companies that touch all kinds of marketing and consumer and user research in so many ways. So Gregory, please spread the word to internal companies. An internal company building their own tools and AI tools could certainly license my patent as well. So survey systems could use it. Qualtrics, Alchemer, because part of recruiting is usually survey-based. So I hope people will spread the word. I would love to see my invention get out there, and sure, I'll make a little money from that, but I would love to see my invention out there because I believe very strongly that it solves a lot of problems, especially where so many researchers are stuck being teams of one and can't make as much time for recruiting as they wish they could, and they really want to spend their time on other stuff. So Gregory, I hope that answers that. Let me know if you have follow-up questions. I would love to talk people's heads off about the patent, but you can learn more about the patent at dcx.to/patent. That will dump you on my Miro board about the patent, and at the top of the Miro board you'll find links to the patent itself, as well as a 7-minute video explaining the patent, which I didn't do a good job of here, and a 45-minute video explaining the patent. So you get to absorb that and at whatever level of depth you would like to. Thank you so much for asking that. We've got 2 anonymous questions coming in, so I'm going to shift to those. But Gregory, if you or anybody else has a follow-up question about recruiting or my patent, please let me know. I'd love to talk about it. This anonymous question says, what's your go-to move when you're trying not to lose your temper on the job? Yeah. Okay. So one of the first things that I believe that we can do would be, first of all, recognize what part of that negative situation is us or ours and what part of it is not. So I do not want to blame myself for somebody else being an evil pile of shit or something else. So first, did I play a part in that? Should I be aware of a part I played in a difficult situation? Is there something I can do better next time? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Then let me wrap my head around what just happened. Okay, so how do I lose my temper? How do I not lose my temper on the job? I've lost my temper on the job only about twice. I'm not proud of it. I've said some unattractive things to people when I just couldn't hold on to it anymore. So it really depends on the situation. But mostly, I would say my go-to move is to remove myself from the situation. I don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't want to say something hurtful. I don't want to escalate the situation, and I don't want to poke a narcissist or toxic person. So typically, it's just trying to get myself out of the situation or that meeting. I can invent an emergency if I have to. Oh, holy cats, my phone's just going off and my husband's got 104 fever. I've got to run. Now I'm saying that because my husband does have a high fever today and he's napping. I hope he feels better soon. Poor guy. He's on his antibiotics. Feel free to invent a reason why you need to step out of the room. Oh my gosh, everybody, I'm so sorry. I just received a very alarming text that my mother has taken a bad fall and is being brought to the hospital. I'm sure she'll be okay, but I'm just not going to be able to keep my mind on this meeting right now. I'm going to have to run out for a moment. Thank you. Somebody might say later, did your mother really fall? And it's up to you, how you respond to that. But I think it's okay to, I hate lying, but I will allow you to lie in a moment of self-preservation. So I think the main thing I might do to not lose my temper is take a walk and shift away. Sometimes I need to get away and put on headphones and sing and do something that kind of rebuilds some of that strength and self-care. So I've only lost my temper twice. Not proud of it. Happy that it was that few, but Still not good. Usually not something that ends up well for me. So it's usually about, how do I get out of this meeting or situation right now? I hope that helps. I might need a more specific example if that's not enough. So, okay, let's look at, we've got a few more questions. Thank you for all of these really cool, interesting questions that are coming in anonymously. Let me paste them into what will end up the description for the YouTube video, which I'll paste later. Oop, I pressed the wrong button. I pressed the reload screen button instead of the edit text button. Okay, edit text. Next question says, are there any routines you use to reset your mindset before starting work? What helps you mentally separate home life from work life? For me, nothing, not much, because I don't have a stressful home life and I rarely have a stressful work life because I'm pretty good at not absorbing negative work stuff into my flesh. So it's not like I'm probably the wrong person to ask only because I don't have a negative or stressful home life. Whereas some people are like, oh my gosh, I've woken up, I have to get 3 kids ready for school, dogs are barking, cats are peeing everywhere, my husband just said total bullshit, and now I got to go to work with all this on my mind, you know, and so some people are like, okay, now how do I shift out of that? And I don't have that, so I might not be the right person to ask, but I think that the question would be, what can you do to help whatever those things are feel at least temporarily resolved? Because if you're carrying personal stuff into work, then that means probably, though not always, something is not quite resolved. Something from this morning is either still bothering you or doesn't have a nice happy ending where it's still on your mind and potentially distracting you. Is it something that can wait until later, or is it something that is a bit of an emergency and you're going to have to resolve it even though now it's time for work? So I think the question that I would ask you, not knowing exactly what this refers to, would be, can you resolve these things? And if not, can they wait until the workday is done? If they're not resolved by 9 a.m., can they wait until 5 p.m.? Some can, maybe some can't, and you're gonna have to figure that out. But I don't have a problem mentally separating these things because I don't have these things carrying over or feeling unresolved. Yes, it's my work day right now, and I'm taking a break from it to do this show, and I'm worried about my husband having a fever, but I don't feel like I have to do anything special to mentally separate my home life and my work life. Also, since I work from home, these are both connected. I have a sensitive microphone. You hear the neighbor's dog barking. You might even hear cars driving by. You might hear my dogs freaking out at some point. Part of the show. So I know that might not be the best answer, and I apologize, but feel free to answer a follow-up question if you think that I need an example or can be of more help there. Let me find the next question since they are coming in anonymously, and thank you for that. Okay, this is a great question. I really look forward to talking about this one. I'm being serious. If that sounded sarcastic, I'm not being sarcastic. I love this question. This says, what's the best way to handle coworkers who think I'm being antisocial just because I like eating alone and want to spend breaks away from others? Who cares what they think? And what are they saying? And are we still in 6th grade? What is this? If someone says, oh, you're eating alone, you're so antisocial. I prefer to eat alone. It's just, I spend all day in meetings and working with teams and collaborating with all of you. I just like to take a little me time. To me, the best answers are the ones that people are going to have a hard time arguing with. And that means they'll stop arguing with you. So To me, you owe them no explanation. You don't have to say, I don't like any of you, or I am antisocial, or y'all suck, or I don't want to be your friend. I could just say, hey, you know what? I spend all day in meetings and talking to people about my work. I think it's nice to take a little break during the day and just have a little me time to eat alone and read some stuff or watch some videos. So yeah, that's how I'd like to spend my meal time or break time. So, I don't know. I've had some weird experiences in the past. The last time I worked in an office was pre-pandemic, many years ago, but I did have a couple of problems with people where I was part of a team that really loved to go out drinking sometimes, and I don't drink alcohol, and it's extreme. I think I have 2 drinks a year, so I'm definitely not a drinker, and I definitely don't want to drink around workmates. So I did have some awkward conversations with people about that. I remember one time I went out with everybody, which was the last time I went out with everybody, first and last, and I said, oh yeah, I'll have a water with lime, and somebody goes, oh, water with lime, how long have you been sober? That's an inappropriate question. Now, it just so happens I am not a recovering alcoholic. I never started drinking, so I never had to stop. But if I were, that's an extremely sensitive and pointed question. And I think I don't totally remember what I said to that guy, but I remember saying, that's an inappropriate question. Because if I were a recovering alcoholic, what business is it of yours? That's kind of a how dare you ask that. It just so happens I'm not a recovering alcoholic, but it sounds like you think I am, and that makes your question even more awkward. So, new question, new topic. So, I've always been the person who doesn't care what other people think about me. I think you know that by now about me. Yeah, and Amy reminds us, a lot of us need to recharge by ourselves. Most people don't understand that. Remember, that is the definition of introvert. That people think, oh my gosh, Debbie does these shows and she goes out and sings and she's so wacky, she's so extroverted. No, I have a bit of entertainment in my DNA, but I am by nature an introvert. By definition, an introvert is someone who recharges or feels most charged alone, or maybe with one person, 2 people. It is not the person who loves the big groups. I like to go out and speak to audiences, and I don't mind getting up and singing karaoke, but I am definitely recharged alone, or sometimes with one person at a time. I am not recharged by large groups. Large groups have an effect on me where there's a little bit of charge in me because I get to put on a show, and a lot of drain as well. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with being an introvert or antisocial. What does that even mean? What a fake gaslighty word. Who cares? You get to eat your food how you want and where you want. And if people don't like it, I would probably just start eating somewhere where they can't find me. I would book the smallest conference room and go eat in there, and nobody has to know where I am or what I'm doing. I would go book a conference room on another floor and they can't find me. How do you like that? Let's see the next anonymous question coming in. Great questions. Thank you to great questions coming today. Not a lot of live comments, but great anonymous questions coming in. I'm loving these. Thank you so much. Let's make this font a little smaller and I'll read it out loud. KB is here. Hey, KB. KB says, I used to work at a place where people ate in shifts and tended to eat together because everybody was on the same schedule. As an introvert, I needed to find a place to seclude myself and recharge. Yeah, very often I ate at when I still worked in offices in America, I tended to eat at my desk, doing my own thing, or online being silly, or I would go out and eat at food trucks, just to go out and eat at food trucks, Yeah, you don't owe anybody anything. You don't owe them your time, and especially if you don't see them as friends. If they do not energize or recharge you, newsflash, you don't have to spend extra time with them. All right, new question. And this looks like multiple questions in one. So let's get to all of these. And oops, let's make sure I paste these in. Ooh, and I forgot to paste the last question in. Give me 1 second, everybody. Show being run by one woman. One woman show. Has to copy and paste everything. Hold on. Let's find that last question we just talked about the eating lunch and so on. I want to make sure we get that in the YouTube. Here we go. Copy. And paste. Okay, groovy. Thanks everybody for your patience. Okay, back to the fresh question. And feel free, it's audience participation. Feel free to say what your answers are to these. Hello, Debbie. Hello, anonymous person. What do you think of the UX job market at the moment? I understand that your advice is to be ready to change in your book, but do you think the UX product designer job market changed in the last 2 months? Do you see any positive tendencies in the near future? Okay, so that's one set of questions. Also, I saw you tested Claude for UX research, but do you use AI regularly for some UX tasks or work organization? Cool. Let's answer the second one first, since it's a much shorter and more concrete answer, and it's a shorter set of questions. So you saw my Claude video about can it do UX research, and it really was mediocre on the side of no, not ready. Do I use AI regularly for some UX tasks? I just started this year trying Claude on some analysis and synthesis to augment what I was doing, not necessarily to replace it, but to see if Claude could do some analysis and synthesis to speed things up for me. And I found that in most cases, it was helpful. A lot of what it gave me was not ready to copy and paste directly into a report or anything else. There were some mistakes. There were a couple of hallucinations. There were some overgeneralizations. There were some missing pieces. But if I think about it, an LLM is, at least right now in mid 2025, is in many cases best at breaking things apart and putting them back together based on patterns. And that's what analysis and synthesis are all about. In fact, that's what the Greek roots go back to: breaking things apart, putting things together. And so I think that Claude, who is the AI I trust the most right now, hashtag not sponsored. Let's get a hashtag not sponsored up there. Hashtag not sponsored. You are welcome to use what you like. I strongly prefer Claude. But right now I'm having it help me with analysis and synthesis. And if the new job, the contract job I'm starting this week will allow me to do that, I will continue trying Claude for analysis and synthesis. But currently I don't want Claude anywhere else in my process. I don't think it's ready to write my plan or improve my plan. I certainly don't want it to run my sessions. I wish it could do my recruiting, see my patent. Yeah. So I think I would try to use Claude to make analysis, synthesis, and reporting go faster, but I'm still heavily reviewing it, babysitting it, improving what it says, rewriting it sometimes so that it sounds more human. KB says, I think AI is most useful for brainstorming rather than arriving at definitive conclusions. You can also ask it to generate questions for you to ask yourself about whatever topic. Yeah, sometimes I'll write an article and I'll plug it into Claude and I'll say, rip this up and tell me what I missed or where my stuff seems vague or bullshitty or not actionable. So you could always say, this is my research plan. What did I miss? Or what do you think I got wrong? Or what questions should I be asking? You could do that, and maybe it gives you some ideas, and maybe it doesn't. That's not something I've done yet, but I do know some people who are doing that. And if it helps you fill in the blanks with some great questions, and feel free to rewrite them and not just copy paste what Claude says, then sure, give that a try. Now let's go back to the first part of the question, because this is a long question. So the first part of the question was, what do you think of the UX job market at the moment? And have I seen anything change in the last 2 months? So I think the job market is still rather bad for UX. I think research is doing better than design, but I still see that the job market is not that strong. I see that most jobs want your butt in the office. So for people who got used to being remote or prefer to work remotely, there are fewer options, significantly fewer options, not just a little bit less, bizarrely less. I would estimate 90 to 95% of jobs now want you in the office at least a couple of days a week. And so there's much, much fewer options. And that can mess people up when it comes to this job market, because not everybody is near an office or can afford to move, because these companies might not pay for you to move. So that's another aspect of where the job market is tough. I also see salaries going down. So even if you see open jobs, they may not pay what they used to. I'm also seeing more jobs showing up as contract or freelance versus full-time employee with benefits. And so that's a change as well. Sorry, I'm in a rolling chair here trying to get comfortable. So no, in general, I don't see the job market getting better. I know that some people see jobs posted on LinkedIn or Indeed or somewhere else, and they go, see, there's open jobs. The job market's pretty good. And I say, hold on. We're going to want to put on our critical thinking hat. Oh, I can't reach it. Yeah, we haven't had the critical thinking hat on this channel for a while, but I've got my hair back today, so we can put it on. Critical thinking hat. Just because you see open jobs doesn't mean they're real, doesn't mean they'll be good jobs, doesn't mean they pay well, doesn't mean they won't lay you off in 6 months, doesn't mean. So we must remember that we've got to look for more evidence than just, do we see jobs listed, especially since many of us have noticed the same job relisted and reposted multiple times, in some cases multiple times over months and a year or more. So we can't just say, hey, look, there's open jobs, the job market must be okay. I don't agree. Or, hey, there's some more jobs being posted, it must be getting better. And I say, where's your evidence that it's getting better? I'm not even sure these jobs are real. So the other part of this question says, I understand that your advice is to be ready to change, but do you think, so my advice is to be ready to change. That doesn't mean you have to change. My book is called Life After Tech, but you don't have to quit tech. I haven't quit tech, but I'm still planning and pursuing non-tech jobs. For those of you who've read the book or have stuck around to hear what I'm working on, we're hoping to be karaoke DJs, which if I can even get a few gigs a year, hey, those are car payments. I'm working on becoming a life coach, which I'm really enjoying. And I hope to be certified within by the end of the year, which would be really wonderful. So if you'd like to try life coaching with me, dcx.to. I'm trying all kinds of different things while trying to work in tech, because I don't think tech is going to last until I retire. And if tech is not going to last until we retire, what are we going to do? And when would you like to plan that? Do you want to plan it when you're desperate and freaking out and laid off again and can't find a job for a year and running down your savings? I want everybody to plan now. I want them to read the book now and plan now. But people act like, oh, I'll read the book later. I'll read the book when I'm more depressed. Oh, okay, but whatever. Do you see any positive tendencies in the near future? Currently, I do not. I think that there are still some jobs out there for researchers, especially if you're open to freelancing, contracting, or going into an office. I think there are fewer jobs for designers, and I think that as AI and AI tools and product managers continue cannibalizing what they think design is, since we might not agree, but as these things cannibalize design, I think we're going to see fewer design jobs. I'm actually working on a huge PowerPoint right now that is going to be a show live on this YouTube channel, hopefully end of June. That's when I'm planning it for. And it's going to kind of reality check all of the stuff that we tend to see and hear on LinkedIn and social media and Medium articles and conference talks. Cough, cough, Jared Spool is trying to claim that AI is going to be this great resurgence for UX, that they're going to really need us to design all of these AI tools and AI agents, that they're really going to want us to strategize AI. I strongly disagree that AI is going to be a resurgence or a boom or a renaissance or a growth period for UX roles. I think it should be, but I don't think it will be. And I think there's a huge difference between what we hope it will be and what it'll actually be. So I'm going to be, mark your calendars for a date I haven't picked yet at the end of June. I'm still writing it. But I'm really excited about how it's coming together. It is the conference presentation that probably no conference will let me deliver. But that's what I'd like to talk about. So there you go. I think that covers all of your questions. Thank you for asking all of them. Super questions, and definitely lots to think about. Let me see what's in my inbox. Nothing from you all. Okay, let's see. Okay, just my accountant asking me if they can pay something. Nothing from you. Oh, Astik Gupta. Hello. According to you, what a youth who are aiming for DSA. I don't understand your question. Can you please rephrase it, Astik? Yes, I don't. I would love to tell you something regarding this, but I don't understand your question because you've written, according to you, what a youth who are aiming for DSA. Can you please tell me something regarding this? What is DSA? And who is a youth? Is a youth a child? So I'm going to need more information. KB says, I saw that the CEO of Fiverr sent an internal email to his team about AI replacing their jobs, even his own. They've also added AI tools directly to Fiverr. Makes me wonder if it primarily becomes a funnel for selling AI services. And that's the weird thing, which is if you believe that AI can do the work that people on Fiverr were doing, what are you doing on Fiverr? Because if you were going on Fiverr to have people do artwork for you, now you can just go to an AI tool and do the artwork. So what do you need Fiverr for? If the more that Fiverr becomes AI, the more that you don't need Fiverr, because the whole reason to go to Fiverr was to have a person do things. But if Fiverr is just going to be AI doing things, well, I can get that from other systems, tools, agents, etc. So I've got to admit, this is one of those things where I don't understand the short or long-term strategy for that. I can understand somebody wanting to replace their workers with AI, thinking that will cost less and get things done faster. But we rarely hear AI tools associated with getting things done better. Like, you rarely hear people say, hey, I want you to use AI tools so that your work is more accurate. Or I really want you to use AI tools so that your work is higher quality. You just keep hearing, I want you to be faster or more efficient, meaning faster. And so I think that we need to ask more questions. When people say, hey, workers should use more AI tools, and I saw the internal email from the Fiverr CEO who said, like, we're not going to hire anybody unless you can prove that no AI tool can do this. And it's like, okay, but wouldn't you need to prove that no AI tool does it well? So, do we care about quality? If we only care about speed and checking a box that says, did something get something done, then AI can do all kinds of things. AI can be the CEO. AI can be the researcher, the service designer, the strategist. But if we care if these things are done well, if we care about the quality of the work, if we care about other aspects of stuff, I saw something on LinkedIn, but I didn't follow it. Someone had asked, someone had said, oh, someone ran an experiment where they basically asked different AI tools to be a company. AI was the CEO, AI was the programmers, AI designed it, etc. Then people were like, then I think they said everything was broken. It didn't work. So, yeah. Do we care about quality, or do we just say, hey, look, we got it done, we checked the box? Which I think is not going to make sense in the long term. Astik is back and says, what I have to learn for making AI projects, and I don't have laptop with high processor, how can I study it? So I think that really depends on what you want to do related to AI. This is not my area of expertise, so I apologize that I don't have the best answer, and I will get your question copied and put into my description. But it sounds like a lot of AI work is related to engineering. And so if you want to learn to create AI systems, it sounds like you might want to learn engineering. Or otherwise, there are AI systems that make AI systems. That's where we are. We're at the weird snake eating tail moment where an AI system can make an AI system. So I think it really depends on what about AI you want to learn, because some of the jobs, and I think another thing, Astik, that you could consider is you could consider just going to a job board like Indeed, like LinkedIn, and seeing what kinds of AI jobs there even are. If you're thinking that you want to get a job in this because you want to study it and then you want to get a job in it, what types of jobs are there, and what kinds of experience are they looking for? That would tell you what to study. That's going to be better information than I have, because whatever the job says they're looking for is what you're going to want to be able to show that you can do, whether that's building AI or training AI or improving an AI data set or testing AI. There's certainly jobs out there, but you'd have to look at the job descriptions to see what they hope you have studied or are good at. I hope that helps. KB says, if I work in a company where all of my coworkers are AI, I'm definitely eating alone. Oh, so good. Oh, hold on. I'm not ready. Yes. Yes. Double applause for that one. Very good. Yes. Good joke. I like that. We got to write more comedy here on this show. Let me check if I'm missing anybody's questions they've emailed in. So just remember, you are welcome to ask questions live in the chat like Astik did. Thank you for joining us. Or anonymously, it's up at dcx.to/Q. I'm here about another 10 minutes since I do have a meeting after this. I'll have to end a little bit early to get ready for that. But I'm here every Wednesday, so if I miss your question or you want to ask one again in the future, you can always send it to dcx.to/Q. It comes into my email, and I will save it for later. Yeah, so meanwhile, I'm going to just check what's going on in my world to make sure I'm not missing any messages coming in, but usually we start winding down around now, which is fine. And I hope people will follow on, especially Twitch. Twitch is definitely the low latency. According to you, what strategy should be adopted for a person which is in college for becoming a successful person after B.Tech? What is B.Tech? Ultimately, wherever you're going with this, I don't think it's a question that I can answer. Let's put it up here for a moment. This is how it copies, so you can see I need to fix it. So I don't believe that strategy is a one-size-fits-all. I can't say, hey, everybody, once you're done with college, do this. I can't say that there is a Bachelor of Technology. Thank you. I can't say that everybody should do this or nobody should do this. I can't do that. First of all, the best people to ask are your professors. That's what they're supposed to be there for. Your professors are supposed to know. Your professors, your advisor, they're supposed to know how you can best transition into the working world based on what you want to do and where you live. So they're going to know better than I will. But my opinion on this is not going to be the opinion you want to hear, because I think that we're headed in a direction where we're going to see fewer and fewer people working in technology. They're just not going to need us or want us. I saw multiple articles recently, and Astik, you can look up these articles. They're not secrets. You can look them up. I just read an article this morning or yesterday saying that companies are finding that AI can easily replace a new technology graduate. Now, it doesn't matter if I agree with that or not. If companies believe that and are acting on that, even if we disagree with them, if that's what they're doing, then I don't know what to tell you. And so this is the difficult truth. This is the difficult conversation. I would rather tell you sunshine and rainbows and happy hearts and good news. I would rather tell you, congratulations, you're getting a bachelor's in technology. You're going to have so many wonderful options when you get out of school. But I don't feel that way anymore. And so I think people need to have another plan for work and careers that aren't technology. And you have to take a look at the people who are graduating from your school, whatever school you're in. There are people who graduated last year. What jobs did they get? How long did it take them? Astik, you can find these things out. Find these people. Talk to these people. Talk to your advisors. Go find these people who graduated last year, or maybe they graduated mid-year in December or January. Are they finding jobs? Where are they finding jobs? What are they doing? How are those jobs going? What do they pay? Those people will know way better than I will what it looks like right now to be straight out of Bachelor's of Technology. I am unable to speak English fluently as my mother language is Hindi. How can it improve? That is a separate question. And obviously, if you're going to work in India and they're happy with you speaking Hindi, then you're pretty good. But if you, so how do you learn English? How does anybody learn any language? I am currently learning Italian. How do you learn it? I'm learning it by going to a teacher. I'm not using apps. I'm not going to a language school with a group of people, even though those can be an option. I am not using videos, though you can definitely use videos. That can be an option. I am paying a teacher to do an hour with me every week. And also practice, Astik. Find other people who want to practice their English, and but make sure you are speaking with native speakers as much as possible. Whether they're people born in India who've been speaking English their whole life, like some friends I have, or they're people from other countries. Yeah, but I make sure you're talking to native speakers because they will be more likely to speak correctly and you'll pick up good habits. If you speak a lot with other people at a low level, you run the risk that they are speaking not as well and you pick up bad habits. So I would say invest the time and possibly money into picking up good habits. I'm going to try to answer one more question today, and then I'm going to have to go because I have another meeting coming up. Do you want to learn Hindi and have you visited India? Yes, I visited India in 2018. No, I do not want to learn Hindi. I am learning Italian. Okay, so this says, hello, I am lately stressed by all the tasks to do. I spend a lot of time organizing my thoughts and priorities, writing it down. My mind is always monitoring tasks. I'm anxious to forget something. Do you have the same experience? I don't have the same experience, but I am doing a lot of life coaching with people who do. So if you're interested in that, the first 2 calls are free, dcx.to. But I would say that there's a lot to say here, so I'm probably going to run out of time. But think about what your values and priorities are. And if you are trying to juggle a lot of these in your head, it sounds like you don't yet have a good system for organizing this. And this is going to be very individual. You'll need to determine if you like checklists, if you like other types of to-do lists, if you like daily lists, if you like priority-based lists, if you like Kanban boards. There's many, many ways to organize things. I just published an article on time management for entrepreneurs. That might not totally help you. What I would recommend is our upcoming conference. We've got an entire day on time and energy management. So check that out. If you go to dcx.com, from our homepage, you can find the Delta CX Hive conference, and we've got a full day on time and energy management, which I think would definitely help you. So even if you just come for day 2, I think that could really help. I'm going to have to run because I have another call coming up right after this, and unfortunately I will have to run, but I will be back definitely next Wednesday. I'm not sure if I'll do a Tuesday show next week. We might skip next Take Action Tuesday. Plenty of Take Action Tuesdays for you to catch up with, archived on the Delta CX Hive YouTube channel. You can watch all of them, and please do. And yeah, keep sending your questions, and good luck, everybody. Catch you soon. Bye.